Let's look at this example. This will be a paired t-test. It will be just like one sample t-test. We will be finding difference between the values for each sample and then do one sample t-test in difference values. So whenever you see you have a paired test, the first step is to find differences. So let's do that now. For the first student, we have 3.61 minus 3.92, which comes out to be negative 0.31. So let me write that down over here. So this row would be differences. And for the first student, we have 3.61 minus 3.92, which comes out to be negative 0.31. Next, we have 1.78 minus 2.15. That comes out to be negative 0.37. Next, we have 4 minus 3.89, which is 0.11. Next, we have 3.46 minus 3.12. We get 0.34. The difference between 2.91 and 3.98 is negative 1.07. Again, the difference between these two numbers, 2.94 and 3.66, is negative 0.72. And finally, the difference between these two numbers, 3.04 and 3.62, is negative 0.58. Here we are done with finding differences. Next, let's find the mean and standard deviation for the differences. For that, you can use TI calculator, Excel, or formula. Here I will just use TI calculator. So let me pull up my calculator up on the screen. Now go to Stat, select Edit, then hit Enter. So on our list 1, we will be entering the numbers in this row, differences. Now let's enter these numbers one by one. So it is negative 0.31, negative 0.37, 0.11, 0.34, negative 1.07, negative 0.72, and negative 0.58, 0.58. Then enter. So once you are done entering the data, then go to Stat, then go to Calc, then we would be selecting one variable stats, then hit enter. For your list, it should be list 1 because that's where we just entered our data. And come down here to calculate, then hit enter. Let me write that down here. So this gives us mean equals to negative 0.3714 and the standard deviation equals to 0.4821. Now we are ready to move on to the first step where we will state null and alternate hypothesis. Here the claim is that the seniors have higher GPA, which is same as saying freshman GPA minus senior GPA is negative. So our alternate hypothesis is mean is less than 0 and our null hypothesis will be mean equals to 0. Next, we want to determine what distribution to use. For that, we can use this table here. In this case, we will be using the sample standard deviation because we know nothing about population standard deviation. We will be using t-distribution. Now, let's calculate test statistic using this formula here. Our mean is negative 0.3714 Mean in the null hypothesis is 0 and standard deviation is 0.4821. Now let's substitute these values in this formula here. So we get negative 0.3714 minus 0 over 0.4821 over n, which is 7. So when you do this math, this whole thing comes out to be negative 2.038. So this is our test statistic. Next, let's calculate p-value. First, note that it is lower-tailed test since we have less than sign in alternate hypothesis. Test statistic is negative 2.038. So the p-value is area to the right of negative 2.038, which means probability of t negative 2.038. And we are supposed to find this area. For this, we can use T-table, Excel, or calculator. Let's use a TI calculator for now. For other methods on finding it, please look at my other videos. Now, let me pull up my calculator up on the screen. Then go to second distribution. Here we'll be using TCDF, which is number 6. Then hit enter. So for our lower value, if we are looking at this point here, so our lower value will be negative large number. So for this one, I'm going to take 10,000. And our upper value is negative 2.038. Our degrees of freedom is n minus 1. So here n is 7. So 7 minus 1 is 6. Then hit enter. Then enter. So this number here is our p-value. So let me write that down over here. So p-value is 0.0438. Next, let's find critical value. First, note that it is lower-tailed test since we have less than sign in alternate hypothesis. So we will have critical value only at lower tail. Now let's put it in the graph. Since alpha is not given, we consider we will take that to be 0.05. To find the critical value, we can use different tools like calculator, Excel, and table. Here I will show you how to do this using TI calculator. For other methods, please see my other videos. Now let me pull up my calculator up on the screen. So go to second distribution, then we'll be using inverse t function, which is number 4, then hit enter. So the calculator takes area to the left, and if we are trying to find this point here, the area to the left from this point is 0.05. So let's enter that 0.05. And our degrees of freedom is n minus 1. Our n in this case is 7, so 7 minus 1 is 6, then hit enter. So this here is our critical value. So let me write that down over here. Negative 1.943. Next, let's determine the rejection region. We know that this is a lower tailed test, so the rejection region will be at the lower tail, below the critical value. So let me draw a graph here. So this point here is negative 1.943, and the rejection region is this. Now, to draw the conclusion, we will see if the test statistic falls on the rejection region. So let me draw the rejection region again. So our critical value is here, which is negative 1.943. 943, and our test statistic is negative 2.038. So let's say that's over here, negative 2.038. So from this diagram here, we can see that test statistic is in the rejection region. We reject the null hypothesis. Using the p-value also, we can derive the same conclusion. Here, p-value is 0.0438 and alpha is 0.05. Since p-value is less than alpha, we reject the null hypothesis. Finally, we can say that the sample provides enough evidence to support the professor's claim that a student has higher GPA in her senior year than in her freshman year. We can also find p-value and test statistic in TI calculator. Now, let me show you how to do that. So let me pull up my calculator up on the screen. Here, first we need to enter the differences, this data, in the differences row in our calculator. So for that, go to stat, then select edit, then hit enter. So on our list one here, we'll be entering this row, the numbers that are in this row. So let's do that one by one. So the first number is negative 0.31, negative 0.37, 0.11, 0.34, negative 1.07, negative 0.72, negative 0.58. Once we are done entering data, then go to stat, then go to test. Then here we'll be selecting t-test, which is number 2, then hit enter. Since here we have real data, so select data, then hit enter. Then come down to list. Our list should be list 1 because that's where we just entered our data. And then frequency should be 1. Then come down here, select less than mu. Since we have less than sign in alternate hypothesis, then hit enter. So come down here, then hit enter. Now, if you compare the values for test statistic and p, they are same as we got here earlier. So you can do this problem in a calculator also and get to the same conclusion. Now, let me show you how to find p-value and test statistics in Excel. So let me pull up my Excel up on the screen. Here, I have already entered the data in Excel. So you can enter the data like I did here. So now, once you are done entering the data, go to data here, then click on the data analysis, this part here. So come down here and find t-test paired two sample for means. So it is right here. So this one, t-test paired two sample for means. So select that, then hit OK. Once you select t-test paired two sample for means and hit OK, this message will pop up. So here for variable 1 range, come here and select this column. And now for variable 2 range, come here and select this column. And make sure to check on the labels box. And for hypothesized mean difference, put 0 in here. So it's what we have in the null hypothesis. And we have 0 in our null hypothesis. That's why I have 0 in here. For alpha, it will be 0.05. It will be 0.05 by default, but you can change that to what you want. Then once you are done with this, hit OK. So once you hit OK, you'll see this. Here we are looking for p-value and test statistic, and these are the one highlighted on bold. And if you look at these two numbers here, for p-value and test statistics, they are same as what we got before with calculator and also with formula. And hence, we will get the same conclusion. Thank you for watching. We hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe our channel. We will be bringing more and more videos on variety of topics.